all this Diddy coming out? Like,
I was just going to say, doesn't that sound topical?
Jesus Christ. The first day of the trial, did you pay attention to any of that stuff? I looked at it for like 10 minutes this morning. I was like, I gotta stop. I can't look at this.
Well, what freaks me out is the people sitting in the courtroom listening to it.
Right.
And there's a wide spectrum of people that are getting subjected to it, and you just sit there and go.
Yeah, well, not only that, how about the fact that this guy was running this for decades? He was doing this for decades. To who knows how many people, and everybody was scared to talk about it because he'd have them. Sometimes you have to tell Diddy no.
Oh, man, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, man.
Sean Diddy Combs' alleged list of accomplices to be revealed soon. The names will shock you, attorney says. Whoa.
I think he's going to sing, hey. If I got invited to the white party, I'd have gone.
Especially if you didn't know.
Of course, no one knew. No one
right.
knew.
If you don't know, you're just a celebrity, and you know, oh, Jennifer Lopez is going to be there. Oh, Rick Ross is going to be there. Everyone's going to be there. And that would be a cool place. I want to meet those people. We know people are depraved enough to try to get straight guys to suck their dick. We've all heard of it.
The P. Diddy quote is Jaguar Wright said this, an ex-employee of him. He goes, if you can get a man to suck you, you can do anything.
You got Ashton Kutcher in love with Mila Kunis on That 70s Show. Then they break up for absolutely no reason after he starts hanging out with Diddy. Then he marries Demi Moore, who drained him of all the adrenochrome she can, and apparently he replenished himself by doing inappropriate things with their daughters.
There's so many powerful people that went and partied. And how many of them went to the Diddy parties? Have you been paying attention to the trial? Oh, yeah. Trials. Wild.
Why don't they air it the same way they aired the coverage that Johnny Depp got? What's going to happen there, you think?
Well, Diddy's going to be in jail for the rest of his life.
The Joe Rogan podcast has always been the kind of place where nothing is off limits. Controversies, conspiracies, uncomfortable truths, all laid bare. No sugarcoating. But get this, even Joe Rogan himself recently seemed genuinely shaken when he started talking about the wild allegations unfolding around Sean Diddy Combs. Now remember, this is Rogan we're talking about. He's someone who spent years deep diving into topics like political corruption, and even biological warfare. So for something to rattle him, you know it's dark. Rogan admitted when he sat down to watch the coverage of Diddy's trial, he only lasted 10 minutes before having to stop. He said the claims were just too much, too depraved. So what shook Rogan to the core, and what left him speechless? Let's find out.
What's going on, Jamie?
I don't know. There's a lot going on. A lot of rumors are flying.
The rumors are that Diddy was running some kind of Epstein-type deal where he was filming everybody, right?
That's the rumors, yeah. I don't know that there's any proof or anything.
Dude, when Homeland Security invades your house, you got problems with dudes with guns and body armor.
Someone said that they weren't there to take stuff. They were there to delete everything. Like the real people that were in there,
Oh,
like
that's funny.
With Epstein.
Oh, that's funny.
Let's talk a little bit about Officer Flores' testimony. From my perspective, the two strongest pieces of evidence that the government in this case has against Diddy are 1, Cassie's testimony, and 2, the surveillance footage itself. I think it was an extraordinarily wise decision to start with the surveillance footage itself.
The P. Diddy thing's is complete unchecked depravity, like involving young singers, young children.
48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. Where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose. It's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
Do you think P. Diddy is in prison waiting for the Clintons to just kill him?
I don't think the Clintons were involved with P. Diddy. Do you?
No, but Epstein.
Was Epstein involved with P. Diddy?
Pedophile rings have to cross points,
Cameras all over the house and 100,000
bottles of baby oil.
Yeah, what? That's all the bottles.
Nah, that's AI. That's gotta be AI. That's gotta be AI.
I don't know if it's AI. I think that's real. I think it was lube and baby oil. I think he had a variety of different substances.
Who counted that? Was
Look at that.
1,000?
Look at that.
At that time, Puff was the biggest guy in the world. You couldn't even get in this party. And he was throwing a party, and he said, yo, Playboy, this party's $1.5 million. I said, for what? I mean, what are you saying? He said, it costs $1.5 million to throw this party. I said, Puff, oh my God, I love it. The party's amazing. Yes, the mayor is here and everything. I said, but that's too much money. I said, you come to my place in LA, I'll throw you a party for $400 that will rival this party. And he got a little mad because, he was like, yo, no, I'm known for this shit. Don't front.
Rogan told his audience that the Diddy situation sounds like complete unchecked depravity. He said he didn't even think it was just about gender orientation. Maybe Diddy was bi. Maybe it was just the narcotics. But the stuff coming out, especially about these so-called freak-offs, was something Rogan had never even heard about until after the pandemic. And meanwhile, he pointed out, Diddy was still out there doing podcasts and smiling for the cameras.
I bet Diddy's not even gay. I bet it's just he really enjoys guys. I bet it's a crazy,
Does that make him gay, though?
crazy, yes, it does. Crazy, drugged up power move, you know?
My immediate boss, his name is Diddy.
Like P. Diddy?
Diddy, yes.
But here's the key thing. Rogan wasn't sitting there reacting to some random internet gossip or silly celebrity rumors. He was reacting to federal court testimony, witness statements under oath, and a criminal investigation that goes back decades. The allegations against Diddy? They're getting darker by the day. We're talking accusations of exploitation, racketeering, physical maltreatment, and manipulation, all allegedly backed by a whole network of enablers. And during this particular episode, Rogan was sitting next to celebrity chef Guy Fieri when he just dropped the jokes and got real. Rogan asked out loud if Diddy was done. Like, was he going to end up in a prison cell right next to R. Kelly? But then Rogan answered his own question, saying no, he didn't think Diddy was going to get locked up. Instead, Rogan predicted Diddy might just skate or run off somewhere like Bali, pulling a Russell Simmons kind of move. Rogan's take was blunt. He said there's so much dirt out there. And it's not just the music business, he added. It's the extortion business. Rogan didn't sugarcoat it for his listeners. He admitted that he'd tried to dive into the Diddy news that morning, but after just 10 minutes, he had to stop. He said, I can't look at this.
All this Diddy coming out. Like,
I was just going to say, doesn't that sound topical?
Jesus Christ. The first day of the trial, did you pay attention to any of that stuff? I looked at it for like 10 minutes this morning. I was like, I gotta stop. I can't look at this.
I think it's over.
You think it's over?
I think it's over for him as like a figure in entertainment.
Right. But do you think it's over as him as far as
jail?
like he gets a cell right next to R. Kelly?
When the feds rolled up, you know, with the fucking Hummers and shit, they're like, it wasn't about Diddy. It was about if there were tapes of powerful people there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
They were the ones that called. They're like, I need to protect myself, so go in there with all the things and rip any tapes or any evidence.
Prince Harry was hanging with Diddy.
I mean, everybody hung with Diddy. That's the other tricky thing. Like, Diddy hung out with everybody. And I've spoken to a bunch of people who are like, yo, great dude, like, always there for you, never asked for a single thing.
Till 1 a.m.
And then freak off.
Everybody says, get out of the house.
Yeah.
It's like the gremlins start eating after midnight.
Now let's talk about how even Joe Rogan, who's basically famous for diving into the darkest corners of global politics, organized crime, and SA scandals, had to tap out when it came to the Diddy case. Like, seriously, if Joe Rogan, the guy who's heard it all, says he couldn't even process what he was reading, that's a huge red flag. What really freaked Rogan out wasn't just the alleged acts themselves, but the patterns behind them. He explained how power can twist someone's moral compass. Rogan pointed out that when people get wrapped in fame and wealth, they sometimes get addicted to pushing boundaries, not even because it's fun, but just because they can. He even speculated that unchecked power leads to this sick kind of experimentation, where regular pleasures stop satisfying and people start craving darker, riskier thrills. That, Rogan said, is where the real darkness begins. Not in the wanting, but in the boredom that drives people to do worse. And honestly, Rogan's take goes way beyond celebrity gossip. It's a much bigger question. How did society let people like Diddy operate for years, even decades, without facing serious consequences?
There's so many powerful people that went and partied. And how many of them went to the Diddy parties? Have you been paying attention to the trial?
Oh, yeah.
Trials. Wild.
Rogan raised something even wilder. He said compromising celebrities is one of the most effective ways to control them. You get them to do whatever you want, agree to projects they'd normally reject, all because they're trapped. And the people around them? Assistants, bodyguards, partners, employees? They stay quiet. Rogan straight up said this is why these behaviors go unchecked for so long. It's not just about one person's bad actions, but about a whole system that survives on fear and silence. Then, of course, the convo drifted to the kinds of parties Diddy is famous for. Rogan spilled some wild takes, saying Diddy would have people at his houses. And let's be real, he has multiple. And he'd throw these freak-out parties. Rogan even brought up Saweetie, joking about how she can really throw it down on the dance floor, saying he hadn't even known about her until seeing one of her videos. He added that Saweetie, a big name in music, had been staying at Diddy's place too. But here's where things get dark. Diddy is in some serious trouble now. Rogan admitted he couldn't stomach the emotional harshness wrapped up in the trial details. And trust me, those details are harrowing.
There's so many powerful people that went and partied. And how many of them went to the Diddy parties? Have you been paying attention to the trial?
Oh, yeah.
Trials. Wild. Wild.
Why don't they air it the same way they aired the coverage that,
Johnny
Depp got?
I know. Why don't they? I don't know. They should. The ratings would be amazing.
Unreal.
Yeah. What are you doing? Why wouldn't you air that?
What's going to happen, though, you think?
Well, Diddy's going to be in jail for the rest of his life.
Just
Diddy
with
thing
that.
is just started, so we'll see. Because apparently there's tremendous amount of video that they have.
On May 5th, 2025, the trial kicked off in Manhattan, and right away, one of the most explosive testimonies came from Dawn Richard. She's not just anyone. She's a former Diddy collaborator and a respected figure in the music world. Dawn testified that back in late 2009 or early 2010, at a dinner party, Diddy punched his then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura in the stomach. And this wasn't in private, this was in front of Usher, Ne-Yo, and big-time record executive Jimmy Levine. The implications? Massive. It wasn't just about Diddy being harsh, it was about how his behavior was either normalized or ignored by other powerful men who still chose to work with him. And Rogan? He wasn't holding back. He wondered aloud what would happen if people ever got their hands on the alleged party videos. What's really in them? He imagined if videos surfaced showing celebrities doing all kinds of extreme things. Wild hookups, narcotics use, all being passed around. Rogan said it would expose just how deep the rot runs in this culture.
Cameras all over the house and
1,000 bottles of baby oil.
Yeah, what? That's all the bottles.
Nah, that's AI. That's gotta be AI. That's gotta be AI.
I don't know if it's AI. I think that's real. I think it was lube and baby oil. I think it had a variety of different substances.
Who counted that? Was
Look at that.
1,000?
Look at that.
All right, buckle up, because this is where the Diddy case takes an even darker turn. So, at the time, Diddy pleaded not guilty to the new charges. The indictment had piled up to 5 total charges, including racketeering conspiracy, transportation to engage in adult work, and exploitation. Yep, it's heavy. Then came Carrie Morgan's testimony. She used to be one of Cassie Ventura's close confidants, and what she described? Absolutely chilling. She talked about an incident that left her with a concussion after what she said was a harsh essay by Diddy. And here's the thing, these weren't just random one-off explosions. They painted a clear picture of someone moving inside a system that either enabled his behavior or, worse, looked the other way. But you know what's most haunting? The way Carrie described Cassie's reaction. There wasn't an outburst, no dramatic breakdown, just cold, flat detachment. Like Cassie had learned long ago that fighting back was useless. That detail really got to Rogan. He even speculated that testimony from a former Diddy employee might be the key to helping prosecutors lock down a RICO charge. One big moment came when Capricorn Clark, who worked for Diddy between 2012 and 2020 in several roles, took the stand as a government witness. She testified that there was one day when Diddy showed up at her apartment door, banging and holding a firearm, demanding she come with him because, get this, we are going to end Kid Cudi. She also said Diddy told her not to talk to the police.
Yo, real quick though, how y'all feel about Thug calling Cudi a rat? Called him a rat.
What the f? He's a subpoenaed witness. How? How does snitch culture overlap with this when you are subpoenaed?
It's the burned Porsche that is a key piece of evidence the prosecution is using in the and racketeering trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Rapper Kid Cudi says Combs had something to do with a Molotov cocktail landing in his passenger seat in January 2012. Diddy's defense is saying not so fast. The DNA evidence, they argue, could derail the government's attempt to use this charred car as a smoking gun in trying to convince a jury that Sean Combs is guilty.
It was through testimonies like these that prosecutors were piecing together the racketeering case. See, racketeering covers a pattern of criminal activities, including things like crimes and witness tampering, and these alleged incidents fit right into that puzzle. But here's what Rogan kept circling back to. It wasn't just the crimes themselves that were horrifying, it was the entire environment that allowed them to happen. Rogan pointed out how when wealth and fame combine, they can build this weird bubble of invincibility, a space where empathy and morality stop applying. Outsiders, silence through intimidation. Insiders, stay quiet because they don't want to lose their access to power and comfort.
Years ago, you opened up this pod saying, if me or you did half of the crimes, we would have been locked up already. Homie, if me and you got accused for blowing up any of our girls' ex-boyfriends' cars, homie, we're in jail right now. We're in TTK right now facing the trial. This guy did this from the comfort of from Turks and Caicos. feds. Homie, but this guy got away with the shit. Like, my whole point is, this is a disgusting example of people with money getting away with.
But I opened the podcast saying I want Diddy to go to prison.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying, like, this is clear
the
evil
feds,
shit.
No.
This led Rogan into one of his more deep philosophical riffs, you know, the kind his longtime podcast fans are used to. He started talking about the idea of evil. Why is society so quick to brush off the idea of the devil, yet fully admits that evil acts happen all the time? It's a contradiction that really bugs Rogan. If we all agree evil is real, but then act like it's not being fueled by something, whether that's supernatural, psychological, or cultural, how can we even name it, let alone resist it?
Do you think that's what we're witnessing here with this case? That this was consensual? It may be freaky, it may be sexually deviant, it may be all these things, but it was apparently consensual behavior and not a crime.
I agree, and there's things that you know we saw in these videos, they were disturbing, and that's not okay.
And here's the most grounded part of Rogan's take. He's not saying Diddy is possessed or that demons are at play here. Instead, Rogan suggests that maybe evil is just part of the human experience, always lurking, always needing to be challenged. Not everyone who gains power turns into a monster, but for the ones who do, the fall into darkness doesn't happen overnight. It's slow, creeping, and propped up by silence, fame, and networks of people with too much to lose. Okay, let's talk about how things got even spicier in this Diddy case. So, the discussion on Rogan's podcast shifted to Officer Flores' testimony. And from Rogan's point of view, he thought the government's two strongest pieces of evidence against Diddy were first, Cassie's testimony, and second, the surveillance footage. Rogan even said it was a smart move to start with that footage because it boosted Cassie's credibility right there in the courtroom. But here's the thing, those testimonies, they were just the beginning. Things seem to be spiraling, and until someone new steps forward, there's a good chance even more names could drop. More survivors might find the courage to speak up. For someone like Rogan, who's all about transparency, whistleblowers, and holding people accountable, this case is hitting every nerve. It's not just about SA, it's about how fame, institutions, and fear all join forces to shield perpetrators. And if these accusations are proven, it won't just be one man's downfall, it'll be a huge slap in the face to the entire cultural system that let him rise, untouched, for so long. What really disgusted Rogan wasn't just the alleged crimes themselves, it was the fact that these things were even possible. He wasn't only upset at Diddy, he was furious at everyone who knew and stayed silent, at the power structures that wrapped around Diddy like armor, and at the harsh realization that these dark stories might only be the tip of the iceberg.
The underage people implicating people in crimes by bringing underage people to them. And
wait, what does that mean?
That was the whole thing about the Epstein place, is that like if you've got underage girls and you don't tell these guys these are underage girls, and then you get them drugged up, get them drunk, give them coke, whatever it is, and then film them.
Yep.
Well, they don't even know.
So they don't know that they're committing acts of pedophilia.
Could be, or could be they do know and they think it's safe to do it because this guy's protecting them. But meanwhile, they're just coked up and they're getting filmed.
Yeah.
You know, which is also the theory.
And guess what? It's getting darker. TMZ founder Harvey Levin recently spilled in an interview with Fox News Digital that celebrities are getting seriously nervous about the chance they might get called to testify. While the public's just seeing flashy headlines, behind the scenes, there's this growing tension. A whole network of powerful people who probably thought they'd never be linked to a scandal this messy. Now that testimonies are underway and prosecutors are stacking up what they say is a rock-solid case, these celebs, they're not just watching quietly anymore, they're reportedly calling up their lawyers. Levin didn't name-drop anyone specific, but the vibe he gave off made it clear. It's not just some fringe players or far-off acquaintances who are sweating. This isn't a simple PR mess you can clean up with a polished statement. No, these allegations carry real criminal weight. And anyone who was close to Diddy's world, even casually, could suddenly find themselves in the hot seat on that witness stand. Levin also pointed out that while Cassie and Kid Cudi are the biggest names to testify so far, the prosecution probably has even more surprises up their sleeve. With 4 more weeks of testimony still ahead, the whole atmosphere feels tense, like a psychological war zone. And it's not just tough for Diddy, it's nerve-wracking for anyone who might have been part of his inner circle during those years. As of now, Cassie Ventura, Dawn Richard, and Kid Cudi have all taken the stand. Each of them, with their own complicated histories with Diddy, has helped paint this dark, unsettling picture of harshness and control. But here's the kicker. The public hasn't even seen the full witness list yet. And that unknown? Oh, it's making a lot of people in the celebrity world seriously anxious.
It's just amazing how many people in the Diddy party list that are supporting Kamala. Too.
Yeah, seriously. Insane.
Publicly, openly, all in.
And I'm gonna be real with y'all. I wasn't gonna vote this year. But Kamala joining the race, she changed my mind.
I think Vice President Harris supports a future for this country.
That's why I'm voting for Kamala Harris.
Wait a second. So how many people did she warn against Diddy?
Right.
Ain't no party like a Diddy party. Oh, 0.
I bet there's some memories in that house.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Well, maybe we shouldn't trust her opinion.
Now here's where the tea really heats up. Even celebrities who just partied with Diddy or worked with him casually, they're nervous. And it's not just the fear of testifying under oath, it's the fear of what the public might think. Because let's be real, the court of public opinion hits harder than any legal verdict. Meanwhile, the trial's moving into more intense territory. One jaw-dropping moment, arson investigator Lance Jimenez testified about that mysterious 2012 fire that torched Kid Cudi's Porsche, now officially linked to Diddy's racketeering case. And it didn't stop there. Diddy's former stylist added to the growing picture of control, fear, and silence. Then on day 12, a former assistant, going by Mia, took the stand, claiming Diddy SA'd her multiple times. She painted a nightmare workplace, on call 24/7, no locked bedroom door, once forced to stay awake for 5 days, and even had objects thrown at her. You know, Joe Rogan had thoughts. On his podcast with Aaron Rodgers, they went deep, comparing this whole mess to the Jeffrey Epstein case. They even speculated that Diddy's infamous freak-off parties weren't just wild fun. They might have been traps, set up to catch guests in compromising situations that could later be used for control.
Sometimes you have to tell Diddy no.
Oh, man, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, man.
Sean Diddy Combs' alleged list of accomplices to be revealed soon. The names will shock you, attorney says. Whoa.
I think he's going to sing, hey. If I got invited to the white party, I'd have gone.
Especially if you didn't know.
Of course, no one knew. No one
right.
knew.
If you don't know, you're just a celebrity, and you know, oh, Jennifer Lopez is going to be there. Oh, Rick Ross is going to be there. Everyone's going to be there. That would be a cool place. I want to meet those people. The P. Diddy thing's just complete unchecked depravity, like involving young singers, young children.
48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. Where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose. It's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
Do you think P. Diddy is in prison waiting for the Clintons to just him?
I don't think the Clintons were involved with P. Diddy, do you?
No, but Epstein.
Was Epstein involved with P. Diddy?
Pedophile rings have to cross points, you know.
But here's the thing. This wasn't just them tossing out random gossip. No, it was part of a bigger, long-simmering suspicion about how power really works in the entertainment world. Rogan even pointed out how tons of celebs have publicly hyped up Diddy's parties, throwing around that famous line, "Ain't no party like a Diddy party." He dropped names like LeBron James and Ashton Kutcher, and you could hear the big question behind it all. How did all these A-listers show up and never notice anything off?
You got Ashton Kutcher in love with Mila Kunis on that 70s show. Then they break up for absolutely no reason after he starts hanging out with Diddy. Then he marries Demi Moore, who drained him of all the adrenochrome she can, and apparently he replenished himself by doing inappropriate things with her daughters.
What do you have here, Rob? What clip is this with Kutcher?
So this is Ashton Kutcher. He was on the Hot Ones.
Go ahead. No, it's okay.
Diddy party stories, they're our favorite genre of anecdote. If you
really?
have one, yeah. Wow, okay, I've got a lot. I can't tell. Can't tell that one either. I mean, I'm like actually cycling through them. There was one moment, so it's not really a party story, but our relationship was really bizarre. So it started over punked, because he was like, yo, don't punk me. Can't punk me. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Everybody's on the table. He's like, not me, I'm off the table. And so that started our conversation. We became fast friends, and we used to just hang out, watch football together.
And that, besties, is the heart of the implication. Either people turned a blind eye on purpose, or they were already trapped inside a system full of silent rules, hidden consequences, and buried secrets. Aaron Rodgers didn't stop there. He went right for the big question, asking Rogan straight up, did he think Diddy was working for someone else, the way Epstein allegedly was? And you know what? Rogan didn't shut it down. Nope, he leaned right into the theory, saying maybe those parties were a setup all along, designed to catch big names in shady situations that could later be used to control them.
What's going on, Jamie?
I don't know. There's a lot going on. A lot of rumors are flying.
The rumors are that Diddy was running some kind of Epstein-type deal where he was filming everybody, right?
That's the rumors. Yeah, I don't know that there's any proof of anything.
Dude, when Homeland Security invades your house, you got problems with dudes with guns and body armor.
Someone said that they weren't there to take stuff. They were there to delete everything. The real people that were in there, you know.
Oh,
like
that's funny.
With Epstein.
Oh, that's funny.
You know what's wild? According to Rogan, throwing big names like Bill Clinton into these scenes acts like moral cover. It makes the whole vibe feel normal, even when it's anything but. But here's where it gets even juicier. Rogan brought up the case of Jamie Foxx. Remember back in 2023 when Foxx had that scary health crisis, ended up in a coma for days, and then miraculously recovered? Well, after he bounced back, whispers started flying that Foxx believed P. Diddy had poisoned him.
At that time, Puff was the biggest guy in the world. You know, you couldn't even get in this party. And he was throwing a party, and he said, yo, Playboy, this party's $1.5 million. I said, like, for what? I mean, what are you saying? He said, it costs $1.5 million to throw this party. I said, Puff, oh my God, I love it. The party's amazing. Yes, the mayor is here and everything. I said, but that's too much money. I said, you come to my place in LA, I'll throw you a party for $400 that will rival this party. And he got a little mad because, you know, he was like, yo, no, I'm known for this shit. Don't front.
Reports say Foxx allegedly dropped this bomb during a live show, but here's the catch. Nobody's sure if he was joking or dead serious. Rogan called it out on his podcast, saying Foxx hadn't clarified anything since, which only makes it more suspicious. Rogan told his listeners that Foxx recently said Diddy poisoned him, and that's why he had that stroke. Rogan even emphasized he said it on stage.
Jamie Foxx took multiple shots at his old friend P. Diddy during his new Netflix stand-up special, What Happened Was.
The internet said that Puffy tried to kill me. That's what the internet was saying. I know what you're thinking. Did he? Hell no, nigga. I left them parties early. I was out by 9. Nigga. Something don't look right. Nigga. It's slippery in here.
Many people were excited to hear what Jamie Foxx would reveal about the Diddy saga on stage, but some are equally skeptical as to why he would not call out Diddy earlier.
Hey, how are you, buddy? You looking great? Hey, I have a question for you about this whole P. Diddy thing. About the rumors that are just online are just crazy. I was wondering if you could just clear it up for the fans and...
God bless you.
How are you feeling though?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling better.
Is the poisoning rumors true or not? I know it's kind of crazy, right?
For Rogan, it's not just about the shock factor. The weird mix of Foxx's claim and his total silence afterward opens the door to all kinds of questions. Was it just a joke, or was it a veiled hint at something way darker? Especially now, with all these creepy accusations spilling out, it's hard not to wonder. What's becoming clear is that Rogan, Aaron Rodgers, and tons of others sensed something rotten deep inside the entertainment industry. And this trial is just scratching the surface. What used to sound like random tabloid gossip is now being laid out under oath, right there in court. This whole situation isn't just shaking up public opinion about Sean Combs. It's rocking the foundations of celebrity culture itself. It's starting to feel like this is bigger than one man. It's about pulling back the curtain on a tangled web of silence, complicity, and fear. And as the trial keeps rolling and more witnesses get ready to take the stand, the tension outside the courtroom is heating up just as fast as it is inside. No one knows yet if other celebrities will be forced to testify, but the anxiety, oh, it's real.
Well, Diddy's going to be in jail for the rest of his life.
The trial for hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs to resume Tuesday after some explosive testimony from rapper Kid Cudi this week.
Have you been paying attention to the trial?
Trials. Wild.
Kid Cudi, he goes on the stand. He says that Diddy blew up my Porsche. He broke into my home. It was explosive testimony.
With every new reveal, the line between personal secrets and public accountability is getting blurrier. At this point, it's not just about dodging legal charges. It's about surviving in a world where just being close to power can turn into a huge liability. And with Rogan and others poking and prodding at these questions nonstop, one thing's clear: the public's thirst for answers is far from over. So what do you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications, and follow us for more deep dives just like this. See you in our next video.